Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM23 Youth Factory. This is episode number 11. Before we continue on with our cup run, a couple things have happened. One, we took our first loss. We'll take a look at that in a second, but we will not go undefeated this season. And I kind of figured there'd be a little bit of stumbling blocks along the way. We've got quality, but it's not perfect, and it is teenagers. And they did show their vulnerability. Finally, it took longer than I thought it would. But anyway, as I was looking through our very shrunk down roster, I only have 16 players on the senior squad. I've got it at a bare minimum. The one position, McLaren, the guy we sold for pennies, who instantly became worth a whole lot more than that, nearly 20 million the moment he was gone. We hadn't properly replaced him. I had picked Ryan Gordon of our most recent intake to be that guy. He's only had 3 starts all season, and those have got to be the 3 matches that I have led. Meaning, even though he's done well in those 3 matches, the assistant manager has not been picking him in the team. But as I look up and down the roster, well, everybody else has been. Schmizek was injured for a little while, so he's missed 4 starts. But ultimately, outside of a couple of rest days, the squad's been fairly well locked in. Now, Chris Webb has picked up some of those vacant starts, the 4 missing Schmizek appearances, and then it looked like Sam Brooks sitting out a couple of times, and the other center back pair in Quintafera sat out a couple of times. So there's 8 starts right there. Chris Webb has 9. And what about the other 17 starts that should have been Ryan Gordon's? And I started searching and hunting and going, well, what the heck? Thornhill, for one, he's got a few starts. Mickey Norris, the terrible, training-wise, this guy's a nightmare. And I have fought with him on multiple occasions to complain every month or so that you're absolute garbage when it comes to training, and I'd like you to do better. And then he whines, I'm not a bad, I'm awesome, I'm great. Yeah, I cannot wait to get rid of Mickey Norris. Cannot wait. He's picked up a couple starts. He's very much just a bench player, and he's very much just holding the fort down until I have better options. He will not be in the senior squad, well, hopefully in about 3 months. But as you look down at the U23s, well, I found a couple of our starters, Adam Buckley and Robbie Murphy, each getting a couple of starts. Down to the U21s, Hallam, 1 appearance off the bench, but I think I did that. I had him, that was when Schmizek was out injured. I think I brought him on late in a match. But Clyde Salmon, 4 starts for him. Alrighty then. More impressively, though, the U18s has been a regular place to raid to find the players that we need, which was definitely a smarter decision by the assistant manager, as there's definitely better quality and better potential in some of these guys. Kilgore has gotten a few starts. None of them have done particularly well getting those starts, those appearances. But yeah, the assistant manager, for whatever reason, does not like Ryan Gordon, because hasn't even brought him off the bench. And this is a 140 potential guy sitting in the senior squad, sitting as my guy who's training for the position, lacking right wingers up and down the squad, and for whatever reason cannot get selected. The loss wasn't even on the road. It was a home match. We lost 2-1, Kinsham Town. penalty for folks, and then he scores the second one in the second half, as Ashley Jones was the only one able to get on the board for us. Poor performance. Sam Brooks with a 7.1 and Ashley Jones at a 7.0. Everybody else had poor ratings. Schmiesak had a 7.1. When I looked at the performance, we had the majority of the shots, we had the majority of possession, but the shots we took were just poor ones. So poor decision making. Our XG overall was rather low. Their XG wasn't high, but that penalty, that comes with a 0.8 XG, and that gave them an edge on the XG. They definitely did not have an XG of 2. It was like 1.3 or something like that. So they maybe had a half goal worth of XG on the one goal that they did get, plus the penalty. So we very much shot ourselves in the foot, and we managed to have an XG of not quite 1, even though we had dominated the match otherwise. So the one goal seemed to be about right. This came down to whatever it was that caused that penalty, and the team came up short. The very next match, by the way, Keynsham, second place in the league. The very next match was against Rochester, the third place team in the league, and we went and dominated to an extent. Brody Bick had a bad day, could not finish. Otherwise, it would have been more. We were very comfortable in that 2-0 victory. But you can see how the top teams in our league offer a decent amount of resistance against us. One is able to beat us. One we beat comfortably, but still only win by a couple of goals. And then we play, a team at the opposite end of the league and absolutely hammer them. Bick scores a couple of penalties. Ashley Jones gets a hat trick. Speaking of Ashley Jones and a hat trick, look at these stats for our top 3 attackers. Right, that right wing position has been a bit of a nightmare and a journeyman's filler. But through the other positions, Bick, 20 appearances, 23 goals, better than a goal per match. Just 4 assists, but a lot of XG. And you can see McDonald through the middle, balanced, 25 goal contributions. But then Ashley Jones, absolutely dominating performances by Ashley Jones with 24 and 15. That is nearly a goal and an assist every time we go out and play. Nearly 39 goal contributions in 20 appearances and an 8.31 rating. That's been even better lately. 4.42 key passes per 90. Third round is against Elberton Villa as we continue on with the cup, and of course, because it's only 2 divisions, it starts to get small fast. So don't expect this cup to be lasting lots of rounds. It's not like the FA Cup that has many hundreds of teams. Possession here, we're finding lots of space, and Jones, through all that traffic, gets all the way to the box, all the way to the penalty spot, and brought down by Oregon. I actually thought visually looked like they made a good defensive stop, that we took one touch too many after making so many nice plays, but brought down in the box, and Bick steps up and converts the penalty. We're not even 3 minutes into this thing, and it's already a penalty and a goal. Redknapp, long ball. Bick can't win that one, but Atkins does on the second chance. Jones gets a shot off. Leg stuck in there. Not much power on it. Rice comes out, collects that one, sends a long ball for Bick. Defense is going to get there first, but the clearance goes right to Jones, who's got some space, works it to the edge of the box, turns around, takes the long shot. Nearly. He's got a little bend to that, but not quite enough, and it goes just wide. Their long ball, easily covered off, and we begin possession, going the other way. Brooks, not much of a ball there for Jones, but he clips it over for Bick, and Bick converts and has a brace. Just 10 minutes later, he's already got 2 goals. Surprised by Jones able to send that one on its way. Difficult ball for him to hit there. Donald, Atkins, the cross, and Bick with a hat trick inside 20 minutes. Bick tries to make it 4 and actually ends up taking a really poor attempt. Tries to chip the keeper, but ends up kicking it right off the keeper's chest when he had a lot of goal open there, and it wouldn't have taken much to get that 4th. Speaking of hat tricks, last Friday night I've got season tickets for the Portland Thorns, which is the NWSL. That's the Women's Professional Soccer League in the U.S. Europe has been getting a lot more attention these days as Bick, again he cannot convert. 2 golden opportunities to make it 4 now, and he's dropped the ball not once but twice. Cox has been playing really well. He's the only one for Alberton Villa that has. But anyway, Portland Thorns, 3-time NWSL champion, and the reigning champions of the league. The league itself just passed the, how many years old is it now? 11? Something like that? 12? Anyway. Sophia Smith. Very young player. She's, 22? Something like that still. But she's the reigning league MVP. She should be a known quantity. She's, at all counts, she is the best female player in the world right now. Does not get that attention, does not get that recognition. The Eurocentric leadership tends to look at England and go, oh, gosh, they finally won a Euro. They're suddenly the best team in the world. They're not. They haven't proven anything yet. They've proven that they've improved. But that's it. They've never won a World Cup. They've never won an Olympics. They're not the favorite, but many would consider them the favorite. And so many of the English players in the WSL are overrated. They're good, and they've improved a lot, but they did not just overnight become the best in the world. We absolutely dominated here half. They had 3 shot attempts, but only a .06 XG. We had 16, 8 on target, 3.67 XG, and 4 goals as we continue into the second half. Likewise, Olympique Lyonnais, very good. There are a few very good German teams. There's a few, and Bick does get his 4th. There are a few elite teams in Europe. There are some very good teams. There are some very good players. But the NWSL is still where the best talent is across the board. It's still the most competitive league. The most competitive teams in the world exist in the NWSL. Sophia Smith, the reigning MVP, she is going to make waves. I'm staking my reputation that Smith is going to be an extremely good player, though I think she's played out of position with the U.S. women's national team and is not used properly. She still puts up huge numbers and makes big plays, and she's in the form of her life right now. And the hat trick that she scored Friday night, I lost my voice. It's a good thing that it happened on a Friday night, that it gave me a couple days to recover. It was the greatest hat trick that I have ever seen, men's or women's, in the game. All 3 goals were absolute stunners. Bick gets a 5th goal. 5th goal for Bick. That is phenomenal. The first 3 had absolutely nothing on Smith's, and that was the point why I brought this up. But he's got 5 now. Would have been offside if not for the right fullback, who was still tracking back and still on his man, which allowed Bick to be behind the other center backs, but still be ultimately onside as a result. Here's Gordon. Gordon, nice space, nice use of space there, though he does lose the ball. McFadden, ball over the top for Jones. It's cleared away eventually. Sitting on a yellow with Quintafera. Probably want to bring him out for safety. Gordon, actually not having a good day, but he's made a couple nice plays there, and he's going to get an assist, and Bick has 6 goals. I think he's going to be winning the Golden Boot for this tournament now. Gordon's rating just went up significantly after that play. Now on a 7.6 with that assist. He made 2 nice plays there after struggling a little bit. Schmizek, Webb. He is struggling partially because he's not getting playing time, so he hasn't had a run of games and came in. I got that warning that he is not fit. Jones switches play. Atkins chips that one behind the goal. Nearly to the end of this one. 7-0. That's 6 goals for our striker. Oh no! Wes McCann with an ugly own goal, trying to head it back to his keeper, and ends up perfectly placing that ball in the upper corner. It wasn't the upper corner, it was the bottom corner. Akoli should have been able to reach that ball. As somebody who plays center back, I very much head balls back to my keeper on a pretty regular basis, or did. I retired a year ago, but man, oh man. Akoli, ugly on that one. It turns an ugly match into something a whole lot worse. That own goal was just icing on the cake. 8-0. They never even had a shot attempt in the second half. We're already down to the quarterfinal for this tournament. One match still yet to be decided. We're down to the final 4 teams. All teams from the West. Keynsham Town. Team that beat us. No, we do not get a rematch with them. Not in the quarterfinal anyway. We are going to be on the road at Penzance. Non-contracts can be really tricky, but some of our players just don't want to sign with us, which is understandable. They don't like the level we're at, and they're well beyond the level. There's no attachment. That is the entire reason behind this minimum security. We cannot field a team and have a scenario where we have a 100-year transfer ban. We can't have the 100-year transfer ban and not provide at least a certain amount of security to hang on to players. Otherwise, there is just no roster. As a result, and maybe one of these years we'll try that. I had it as an option. What happens, and they go. But most of you understand that that is a near impossible situation to try to navigate. Players would be leaving left and right in the early stages, and we'd really struggle to just have a team, period, as we climb the ladder and eventually get to a stage where we can actually hang on to them. But anyway, that being said, Brody Bick was still a non-contract guy because he didn't want to sign with us on a long-term basis, as he felt he was too good. So Gateshead had swept him up on a free, which with our minimum security meant I was able to recover him and bring him back. It's transfer deadline day in the upper leagues. But here early on this morning, he was gone. We bring him back. I removed the suspension because I can't sign anyone. But the great news is, because he's only been with the team for half a day, he was willing to sign a contract. And as a result, this time around, I signed him up to a contract for next year as a star player. But I have a contract for him through next year. So I now have a little bit of security for him to keep him around at least a little bit longer. I guess that's the byproduct of the walk. They walk for free and they come back, and then I'm able to use that as a loophole. It's definitely not the kind of loopholes that the Premier League teams have in terms of the millions and millions of dollars that they use, but yeah, I definitely just exploited a loophole. But Bick will stay with us a little bit longer. It's also transfer deadline day, so we'll see here very quickly if anybody else is lost. I have had not a single offer come in of any value, not a single dollar offered to the club, so I don't think we're going to be losing anybody today. Well, I spoke too soon. I spoke way too soon. Middlesbrough have come in for Craig McDonald with a substantial offer well over his value, which technically he is one of those guys who's small contract and apparently has no transfer value, but Middlesbrough have offered us pennies. It's even less than what we got from McLaren a year ago, but of course our reputation and our level and the reputation of our level hasn't changed drastically. It's still quite low. We have to accept, hence the rules. I was able to keep Bick. I cannot keep McDonald. They offered us more than his value, therefore I have to do it. We will go ahead and go for percentage of profit from next sale and bump that up to 50% and see if they accept that, and they do. So at least we get the profit from the next sale, but that means Craig McDonald is going to be leaving us. Let's hope that they offer to bring him back on loan. Wonder if that's something I could ask. I'll check on that next time because I'd love to have him for the rest of the season. They do offer to loan him back, so that's good. It's just till the end of the season, not a multi-year deal, but we accept the loan back. Definitely. Very quickly. Very quickly they've come to an agreement. What, 15 minutes? No, an hour. 1 hour. That's it. That's all the negotiation took. He was eager to accept the deal. It's only been a couple hours since we lost McDonald. No, it's not another offer coming in for somebody else. That deadline's fast approaching and hopefully goes past, because this is now 2 years in a row we've lost one player. But again, one player versus a whole intake is progress. We are making progress. It's inevitable that we're going to lose players, especially with this minimum security. Definitely not McLaren level, but he instantly has a $7.5 million valuation. Just like that. I mean, he hasn't gone anywhere. He hasn't done anything. He's just suddenly on a much bigger side. Middlesbrough, presumably championship. I didn't bother to check, but second straight championship club to come in and take somebody and suddenly have a much higher value. That's all about league and club reputation right there. On that transfer window, so it's closed, hopefully. It's a weekend one. It's Saturday, February 1st, so I presume that it has closed, but it might be one of those Monday night kind of deals, possibly, as we don't have the transfer window ourselves down at this division. We don't know. But anyway, moving on up here, Ethan McLaren. Checking in on Ethan McLaren, transferred this time last year, finished the season out with us, so he's only been with them since the start of this season, and you're not going to believe this. He has 6 starts and 2 bench appearances in the championship. He's on the senior squad and getting some playing time. He hasn't been great, 6.7, 1 start in the FA Cup. Non-competitive has been where it's mostly at, and he's dominating in the non-competitive side, 10 goals, 4 assists in those 20 appearances where he spent a lot more time. But this is a 17-year-old who is already getting some championship level experience. 8 appearances in all, and has a goal. He's had his debut goal at the championship level. That is pretty incredible right there. He's something else, huh? We're not exactly rolling in dough here, but we did collect an extra $3,000 from the Ethan McLaren transfer deal, as he has now played in 10 league games for Sheffield United. We're on the road at Penzance for the quarterfinal of the R League Cup. Whatever the name of it is. The competition apparently ties in with the regular league suspension wise. So Schmizek, who got a red card last time out in a 3-match suspension, is going to have to sit this one out. So Webb in to start, and unfortunately the U18s had a match today, so they are ineligible for somebody to step up and make our bench, and therefore the U21s and Hallam our former starting center back from the current ability 1 guys, one of just 2 players to have progressed beyond that current ability of 1, and still to this day for that matter, as Bick gets us the early lead in the 3rd minute. Keeper gets a hand to it, kind of guessed wrong initially on his dive, but then the ball was coming close to him. That's definitely onside too. Yeah, he kind of over dove for that one. Gets his right hand to it, but can't keep it out. Had enough power to it to get on through. Jones, that's off the wall, out for a corner kick. And we are looking dangerous early on in this one. Let's see, staffing decisions over the course of the last month. It's into March now, so that transfer deadline and the loss of McDonald at the end of the season anyway, that one takes a foot to deflect and keep that up over the bar. Otherwise, that would have been 2. Offside, didn't get back on in time. Ball came in a little too soon there to Jones. So, yes, we're losing McDonald at the end of the year, but staffing decisions, I went ahead and started adding our next couple of staff members. 1 successfully, 1 I'll have to try again. I added a head physio. For the secondary physio, they already had a job. It would have been a 1K compensation situation, which is nothing for us. 1K is no big deal. And so I was willing to pay that, but the club that they were on existing wise gave them a new contract, so they stayed put as Bick. Another nice through ball there, and he's got himself a brace. Atkins. Actually, it wasn't a through ball, it was an over the top. Over that defensive line. Just how they love to play at these bottom levels. Also how teams used to play at the level that I played at when I played outdoor. I've been playing indoor for the last 10 years until I retired this last year, but for outdoor, teams would play that way, and as what quickly became the lone center back of a back 3, I had 2 fullbacks and myself. And why did we do that? Because the 3 of us were fast, and whoever they partnered with me was slow. And all of the goals we were giving up was from that partner. They'd struggle, they'd get beat for pace, and then I would be too far away to be able to catch up because I was marking the other striker. By the time I'd get there, it'd be too late. So we switched to a back 3, put that extra person up as a holding mid, and we ended up going from giving up some goals and usually coming out on top to absolutely dominating our league. That was after I moved to the 2nd division. When I was in the 1st division, won the league, wasn't getting as much playing time as I wanted. I just wanted to play, so I went down and played 90 every minute, 90 every game, and then dominated the 2nd division. After we made that change, a few matches into the season, we hardly got scored on the rest of the year. That was my last season before I moved back home. I was halfway around the world. After I moved back home, that's when I started playing indoor. 3-0 here. Looking like we are headed for a semifinal. Pretty comfortable, though this second half has been awfully quiet. We've played 20 minutes already with 1 quick highlight to start the half. And that's been it. McDonald having a bit of a rough day. Let's go ahead and let somebody in. Tom Fish. Tom Fish is the likely replacement, depending on what happens with our intake. If we don't have a like-for-like replacement that's strong, Fish will be our new attacking mid next year. So getting him a little playing time here at the end of the season is definitely going to be important for his development. Nice header away. Redknapp. Fish. Out to Jones. Not a very good ball, but Jones does track it down. Through ball for Fish. He makes a great run and scores. That started with a poor ball from Fish, but it finished with a fantastic run and a fantastic finish and a fantastic ball from Jones on that through ball. Fish had a long ways to go there on that through ball. Easily onside. Terrible job from the keeper. Probably could have reacted a little better and maybe gotten a piece of that, but there you go. Another through ball, this time over the top. Gordon can't win it, but that is the end of the match. 4-0, on to the semifinal. League, yeah, it's already wrapped up. We have won the league. No surprise, we'd only lost one game all season and have been perfect otherwise. You're not going to be in danger of losing the league with that kind of record, unless you're Wrexham and Notts County, and even then they don't have that. They didn't have that kind of record. They still lost a handful of matches each. They each had their stumbling blocks along the way of the season. They had dominant seasons, but not to the level we are having. But this is also the 10th tier. We're playing against amateurs. We're semi-pro. Even our reputation, I think, is significantly higher than the teams we're playing against, or at least I would assume. At the start of the season, it wasn't. We were second lowest in the entire two-division league, and that was why we had to play in that first round, where most of the teams got a bye to the second round. Having played 27 matches out of the 32, so we have 5 remaining. We're 28 points up. The one thing we are tracking, the one area where we face the danger, last season we came up just short on the points versus goal differential. This year, the goal differential is ahead. Now, I think the ultimate goal would be +3 for every match all season. Not just compared to the points we score, because right now we have lost 3 points on the season. So we could be sitting on 81 right now, but we're only +79. So we're actually -2 on that target. But let's start with exceeding the points first. That's got to be the goal in these early years where we are so dominant compared to everybody else. 5 matches to go, presumably 15 points to come, which means we need to be at least a +14 over those 5 matches. It's a tall order, but so far on the season, we are on rate. Bick and Jones first and second in the league in goals. Jones and Bick first and second in average rating. Assists, Jones is on top. McDonald tied with Kilgore. One thing I'm happy about, unlike last time where we lost our best player in McLaren, this time we're losing our third best player in McDonald, not our best player. So I'm pretty happy, at least in terms of performance-wise, our third best player. I'm pretty happy about that this time around, that we are going to be keeping our best guys at least in to next season, as we don't actually know for sure where we might fall in next season, off-season wise, if we lose additional players. So far, we've lost 1 each of the last 2 seasons. I would love for it to stay like that, but it might not. We're going to get an intake. There's going to be 16 new players or so, and they're going to give us some more depth. So even if we do lose some guys, we are going to have some additional depth, and I have a feeling that we're going to be looking at probably a 50+ for the entire senior squad, but we might not have 6 players that are in 85 or better at the start of the season. But that doesn't mean we're not going to dominate the league. Let's say we lose 2 more guys. Well, we're losing 1 already. Let's say we lose 2 more on top of that. We lose 3 of them. We're not going to be as good, but we'll still be good enough. Especially if my prediction reigns true and we have a 55 or better for the entirety of the senior squad. We lose 3 guys, but we replace 3 at the bottom. That means we'd have at least 6 up-and-comers that are a 55 or better. Now, in terms of the U18s, yeah, it's not happening there. Not right now. 45 is the best we've got, and the 2 guys that are 45s aren't going to get any better. And that's kind of the biggest problem right now, is there's not a lot of potential. Mildenhall has some potential, but he's now 18. He's going to be moving up to the U21s. And there's potential for a few guys, but that's it. Not a lot of quality there. So we do drop off, but with this new intake, you've got to assume that there's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 players that are going to have higher potential, higher current ability of some higher than 55 anyway, and hopefully higher than a 100 potential ability. We should get at least that many ready to step up and join that senior squad. So I think at the very least we're going to be in a similar state to what we are now. One would hope. 1 guaranteed loss, maybe a couple more coming. Noteworthy, those original current ability guys, Joseph O'Sullivan, has a current ability of 2. That makes 3 players. That makes 3. Kenley and Hallam. Woolley on down, all still current 1 abilities. These guys are your fillers. So yeah, it's up to 3 players have developed beyond that current ability of 1, but with the maximum being a 4. None of them are ever going to contribute again in a meaningful way, though. I mean, hey, there are a couple that have played a little bit. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. We'll be wrapping up that cup. 2 matches, presumably, to go if we get beyond that semifinal. And then wrapping up the season. And then we're headed for the 9th tier. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.